Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to the channel Tech with KG. Today we're going to do the Nintendo Switch, and really this applies to any SDR gaming, especially low resolution SDR gaming. And we're going to find out who is the king of SDR gaming, who is the king of the low resolution gaming. Now if you're wondering where LG OLED is, well, they currently can't compete in this category, so I left them off the list because LG just keeps limiting us with our SDR gaming capabilities by locking out options. Not cool. You can see the example here side by side next to an S95B in an SDR game. Now, even though they don't make the list, let me touch on it really quick because I know there's going to be people that want to get the LG OLEDs and still do some SDR gaming. It's not completely the end of the world on that front. I think if you are looking to do some SDR gaming, definitely look towards the LG G2 as it does seem to have a better brightness overall for SDR gaming. One thing I also noticed was the upscaling seemed to be better. Now the C2 had this as well, and this will apply to that. So super resolution at higher sharpness levels can get you better upscaling than you were able to get before from an LG OLED. So that is nice to see. But you still are locked out from changing the peak brightness overall, which is why I just cannot recommend it for SDR gaming. So of course, for that reason, you will always get a duller experience than any other OLED that allows you to switch the peak brightness levels. Another quick tip for LG owners: if you switch the range from auto to limited, this will give you a better picture overall, in my opinion, as you can see here. One thing I want to put to bed here is the Nintendo Switch and S95B having overscan. That's not a thing. So you can actually fit the screen perfectly fine, 100% of the screen, no problems at all. Just got to make sure your settings in your Nintendo Switch is going to be set correctly. You can also do some other custom things, which I'll show you in a little bit. But first, I just want to remind you that I do have the links to both of these TVs in the description below, as well as other 2022 TVs. So if you guys are using those links to buy anything at all, it will help out the channel. So thank you guys so much. When it comes to SDR gaming on the Nintendo Switch, Samsung, Sony, that is a really good place to look. Now, when we're talking about the A80J, now I've had this TV for a couple of months now, and I primarily game on the Nintendo Switch on this TV, and the upscaling is very native 4K looking, and I'm not exaggerating that. Like, you can get up close to the screen and it is just an amazing experience. And the main thing that I really love about this TV is that you have picture settings options, a bunch of them for SDR. You have your black adjust, you have your advanced contrast enhancer, you have your live color if you want to have more of a Samsung look or an LG OLED look. You have that option. You can go ahead and flip around with the live color and you can get the experience that you want to get. It's very customizable. Now, when I'm looking at upscaling, the number one thing I'm looking at is how does the text look and how are textures upscaled and do they look native 4K? I know this is a big ask from a 1080p video game, but that's sort of what I'm looking for. And the A80J gave me that. Now the S95B actually gets pretty close. There's no doubt about it that the A80J is still going to be the better upscaling experience because you have things like reality creation. Now, if you wanted to get a little bit closer to what Sony does, you will have to use the sharpness slider. But beware, this is a very sensitive slider. But go ahead and play around with it and you might be surprised at the results. I would say that rock almost looks native 4K on the A80J. It looks really close to that on the S95B as well, though it's not as defined. There's definitely a little bit more texture resolution coming through on the A80J, and a lot of this is due to reality creation. So there's no doubt about it, the XR processor is still probably the king of processing, even in game mode. And some people think that all the processing is turned off in game mode. That is absolutely not the case. You can clearly see there's some sort of processing going on, which is probably why you get a higher input lag in the first place. So these things that Sony does well is image quality, which is why I think the A95K still has a chance to challenge the S95B as the best looking gaming TV. I don't think it's going to be the overall better gaming TV because you have to factor those things in like input lag, features, how many HDMI 2.1 ports, etc. You know, there is a lot that the A95K won't have that the S95B does have, but I don't know that the S95B is going to have better image clarity than the A95K, because right now what I'm seeing in SDR gaming, the A80J's image clarity is still better. And so that is just one thing that you really have to like about Sony's picture processing. With all that said, the S95B as a native sharpness of 0, it looks fantastic, and it still will give you that, it almost looks like it's native 4K feeling at times when you are playing the lower resolution games. The upscaling is great on this TV, and even when you are trying to upscale 480p, it looks great. Bottom line, both of these TVs are going to be fantastic for SDR gaming. I do give the edge to the A80J for SDR gaming, but only in the texture resolution. Where I give the big edge to the S95B is the brightness. Now, in SDR gaming, there's no doubt about it. You can see the separation of brightness and color right away with the S95B, and that is why it is going to be probably my top choice for an SDR gaming TV, at least until the A95K comes out, because you are getting that big brightness difference. It is noticeable. When you put them side by side, it's very noticeable. And it's just one of those things where it is the technology difference at the end of the day. One thing I can't forget to mention is going to be screen uniformity. And when it comes to screen uniformity, the S95B is definitely the king of that. I have never seen a cleaner OLED screen in my entire life. The A80J, on the other hand, well, that's not completely perfect. There is some banding that you can notice, and maybe that will go away with usage or with compensation cycles. I'm not sure. Mine still have not gone away, but there's also going to be times where you think you see something, but really it's just image retention, and this happens more than I would like. Now, I think the common person probably wouldn't notice this, but I am a pixel peeper and I sort of see these things from time to time. But overall, I don't think it's a huge concern, and I think most of the time people are going to be fine with the A80J, and they're just going to love this TV, especially for SDR gaming, Nintendo Switch, you name it, it's a great TV. S95B, you guys already know how I feel about it. It is probably my TV of the year, and the only thing that could probably change my mind on that is the A95K, so we'll have to see. Another thing that I really have to mention is going to be the motion, Game Motion Plus on 30 FPS games. Sometimes that is such a lifesaver for me. It saves a lot of 30 FPS games, and to be honest with you, this is a feature that I definitely have to just recommend trying. See if you like it yourself. Now, set the 30 FPS games to Judder 10 and Blur 0. Set the 60 FPS games to Blur 10 and Judder 0, and let me know what you think of those results. I think that this leads to a smoother gameplay experience, and that is why I really like what the Samsung TVs do with Game Motion Plus. I would love for this feature to come to other TVs in the future. Alright, so if you enjoyed this video, please give a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more TV reviews and side-by-sides. And if you want to see more videos, check out the ones at the end of this video right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next one.